Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. We are back again. It is the Killer Comics Show. Now, I did have a special guest tonight, but instead of being straight out of Crampton, he's gone straight out of picture. So there he is. Hello there, Mr. Ben. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Hey, everyone. Disability is not a joke, okay? Thanks for having me. Did you say straight out of Crampton?
Yeah, but then I kind of realised that it's not straight out of Crampton. I'm dyslexic. Honestly, I am so dyslexic. It is ridiculous.
Well, it's a good start anyway.
It's a very good start because it's straight out of Crampton. You was off screen. It was great. What an absolutely amazing intro. So
I've never seen Cyclops wear them on his head. Like, you know how some people, you go into a shop and you just pop them on your head. You can't do that, can you?
But the thing is, he could actually wear that as a hairband.
He could as well. Yeah, there's just so many options with these things, and only £15 from eBay. I'm going to take this off because I feel like you've got the impact now. I might it a little bit. Do you know what? It's so hot.
I mean, you literally. I just love the fact that no matter where you are, you always come on wearing an outfit. I love it. Honestly, yeah. It's like, what's Ben going to be wearing next?
It gets tiring though. Like when you have to go to work every day, it's 5 costumes a week. It's tricky to maintain.
I can totally imagine it, mate. I've always got like a different t-shirt on. I was going to keep wearing the Killer Comics t-shirt, and then I was like, well, I've only got one of them, so if I wear that every single week, it's going to go a 50 Shades of Yellow, I think.
Loki's horns are pathetic in that t-shirt, though. I mean, I'm not someone to judge someone else on their size,
but who cares? But Ben, it is absolutely great to have you on. I watched your video you put out earlier, which was very enjoyable. I was watching with bated breath to see if I did keep the #1 slot, and it seems like I did. So, Luke, you gave a good effort. I'm not going to actually lie and say that Dinobots is a wicked comic. I absolutely love the first appearance of the Dinobots. So I definitely think it's going to hold second position for.
Oh, we've lost Geeky Guy. He was worried about this, so it seems like it's now a straight out of Crampton takeover. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching straight out of Crampton. Luckily, I'm very used to talking to myself, so I'll just crack on. Welcome to the Killer Comics Show. Hopefully, we will be joined by the actual owner of this channel very soon, so that can stop living. There you go. Right. Hey, mate, I had it. You don't even need to be here. It's fine.
I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. It's ridiculous. My internet all week has been fine, and then as soon as I sit down to do something, it messes up. So
have a word.
I'm actually going to have a word, but yeah, carry on. What was you saying? I was just about to sit back and enjoy it.
I was letting people know they're watching the Killer Comics Show, and then I kind of forgot what the actual concept is. So I started to panic, and luckily you came back. So please tell me what the Killer Comics Show is all about, Geeky Guy. I'm hosting now, you see.
We've gone again. This is a joke. We will get there, I promise you. For everyone in the chat, this is what happens when you do live. So I think maybe there might be an option to do some recordings. You know what it's going to be? This is going to be like a TikTok. So you know when the video freezes and we come back on wearing different clothes?
Well, you say this is what happens when you're live, but I've never seen this on Good Morning Britain. So
I know, this is ridiculous. I think Holly Willoughby and Philip really do have it locked down.
They would. Oh, and it's just me again. I'm going to carry on because I don't really know if Geeky Guy wanted me to or not, and people have spent hard-earned time.
If this happens again,
if this happens again, what would you like me to do? Because I have my notes, I have my thoughts on comics. Right. I can crack on.
If this happens again, I'll email you my notes and you can crack on because I clearly am at fault with all technology today. So
What about
anyway,
have you got another way to access, like a phone or anything that you could
I've
steal
got
in the house?
I've got an iPhone on, I've got an Android on, I've got a laptop on. Nothing's working for me.
Well, that's the story of my life. Don't worry. Oh, and with the
Honestly,
technology as well. Yes.
it's. Let me try one
Quickly.
thing. Let me try one thing.
Okay, he's trying one thing. And this is the beauty. You know what? You probably should have just watched what was on Channel 2 right now.
This is ridiculous. You wouldn't get this on any other channel. This is shocking.
This is why I don't go live. That, and I can say really offensive things and then edit it out. Good. He's frozen again. So I'm so sorry that you have to listen to my voice this evening. Apparently he's going to send me some notes, but I don't know. I'm going to crack on. I could do like a geeky guy like impression for you.
Right, so I've gone on to 4G now, so hopefully it should be working.
Okay, amazing. That's
right,
going to sap your data. Look forward to that, Bill. Okay, sorry. You stopped me doing an impression of you, which was probably for the best.
Carry on.
Well, I needed to get like a bit of metal out the kitchen drawer, and I was going to get carried away.
You crack on.
No, come back to me, please. I can't do this alone. I can't. It's
right.
there. Thank God for that. Right.
It seems to be good now. So I'm using my 20 gig of data. So, So anyway, before we do this, I am going to give you the individual.
What an intro, can I say? What an introduction.
It was amazing, wasn't it? But
what so I'm going to do,
it was very. It was very smooth. What I'll do, so I'll give you the intro. Do you want to introduce your channel and say what it is you do, and let the viewers know a bit more about the one and only Straight Outta Crampton?
Okay, so I'm Ben Crampton of Straight Outta Crampton, and I run a channel that has kind of 3 different legs, I guess. We have Crampton Clicks, which is all about the Hero Clicks miniature collectibles, where we go to Castle Clicks and King Clicks, which is a hoarding friend of mine who has an amazing collection. So that between the two of us, we will show you our little things. And I have approved by the Crampton Code Authority, which involves chats with the likes of Geeky Guy, everything from discussions around comic book eras. I'm currently doing a feature called Birth Month Books, which is about the books that came out the month you were born. And sometimes I throw in just like a fun discussion video as well, where I speculate to accumulate, hopefully. Yeah, the last leg is Crampton's Collectibles, which involves unboxings and reviews of memorabilia, collectibles, replicas, that kind of thing. Other than that, no, that was it.
Well, that was great. That was wicked.
Thanks. I rehearsed
it was very good. But thank you, mate. I mean, you stuck with me through the technical hitch of an absolute nightmare of a start. You wouldn't get this on any of the US channels, so I think I'm either going to have to increase my data on my phone, or literally, instead of using a 50 meg dial-up, get some Wi-Fi.
Don't worry about them, mate. Don't worry about them.
See, don't worry. I haven't even pressed live.
You are live. It says live.
I am. I'm joking. I'm just trying to bring some humour to an already downward spiral of a live stream. But anyway, Ben, right, so this is the Killer Comic Show.
You got me on. If you thought you weren't going to have humour, then I've come to the wrong place. Or you've come to the wrong place, I should say.
I think I've come to the wrong place. I think you should just take it over and just send me the edited videos. I think that would work pretty well. But we are here for the Killer Comic Show for week number 39 to discuss the fantastic. There was a decent few comics that came out yesterday. We had the likes of Immortal She-Hulk #1, Batgirl 49, Venom 29, Suicide Squad #9, Juggernaut #1, and we had some X-Sword of Spider-Man? Is that the one?
10 of Swords.
Ten of Swords, which I didn't get around to reading.
Creation, #1.
That is it, yeah. So I think if we just want to jump straight in, what are you feeling about Immortal She-Hulk #1? Now,
you know what? I wasn't thrilled. I love She-Hulk. I do love She-Hulk. Her material historically has been kind of all over the shop, I think, from a character that is, you know, can be taken very seriously, but then also a lot of the old historical sensational She-Hulk stuff was quite jovial and you know, full of jest and stuff. So it's a weird character, really. I mean, the artwork felt very indie in style. Yeah. You know, like the Ice Cream Man series, it felt like that in terms of the artwork style. So in parts, I felt it was better than in other parts. It was nice and bloody, which I always appreciate as a sicko. But I just kind of felt like I didn't get it really. So it retold it kind of retold her story really from the start, and the various deaths that she has had, and when she's been brought back to life, yeah, it was odd. I just didn't really understand the concept of the kind of cloud-like being thing, and yeah, and then I didn't know if, you know, like before we continue, spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning.
Alert,
I can't review things without spoilers. I can't do it. It's impossible.
Hydra Collectible told me off for this the other day.
Who did?
Hydra Collectible told me off for that.
Don't worry about that guy. I'll deal with that guy. It's fine. Yeah, I just felt it was quite convoluted. And I didn't, it wasn't clear, you know, it wasn't clear, is the leader a manifestation in her head? Is he actually there? You know,
he kind of looked like a cross between Jim Carrey and a raisin.
The leader, yeah.
Because obviously this is written by Al Ewing, who's doing the Immortal Hulk run, the fantastic Immortal Hulk run that's out there at the moment. But obviously it's a one-shot that's kind of like spinning off of the end of Empire, which I didn't read because there was about 35 tie-ins that I didn't know where there was left, right, centre back. There was coming from everywhere, so I didn't have the time to read all of them. But then obviously it also ties into, I think, there's some Civil War #2 tied in there as well, and it's from her origins and stuff. So it's kind of like this story for me was coming from every single angle, and it didn't really make
it
that
was a
much
recap.
sense.
It was like one big previously in She-Hulk. And that's I think that's quite cheap to do in a #1. I think, you know, maybe spend a page or two doing that, but not the whole book. What would happen is you would go from the simple concept of recapping to quite a far out idea, and that idea wasn't put across in a clear way. And I think by the end of it, I just kind of felt confused. The cameos I felt were quite cheap. It was, you know, it was very like, you know, old school comics where it's like, oh, I'm just going to have a drink with Thor, and oh, hey, Wolverine. You know, so that kind of sucks. I didn't like it. And as a man who has donned a She-Hulk costume, that upsets me.
Of course you have. But I mean, I totally 100% agree where you're coming from. It kind of just felt very disjointed. And as you mentioned, if you're going to do a recap, that's the first 2 pages. First 1 or 2 pages, you do an overview, do a recap of it, and then you kind of get into the story of what you're telling. But I kind of feel like going back to the beginning, we find out that she obviously got shot. A hit out was put on her by the Kotati. Is it the Kotati? A hit was put out on her to kill her. She's brought back to life by Bruce Banner, who gives some of her blood. She turns into, again, she's falling through this green door, which if you have been reading the Immortal Hulk series, you will know that this is obviously the door that they pass through to come back to life. She becomes something else that she didn't really know that she was becoming, and she becomes angry because she got shot, and then she comes back, and the next thing we know, she's fighting against, what is his name? I think his name was Tantrum. I mean,
Oh, some like
Tantrum.
Z-list like mutant, and he.
Like,
And I
I'm a
mean, I
celebrity.
love
Get me out of here.
Z-list mutant, but he was, yeah, real expendable.
Like, and you would expect someone like She-Hulk. Obviously, there is a cool bit in here. We will get to that, but that ties back to like the Civil War and stuff like that. But you'd expect her first one shot to at least have her fighting someone decent instead of someone that sounds like what a 2-year-old gets up to if he doesn't get his milk on time.
It was, yeah, it lacks impact.
Yeah, it really did. And I mean, as you mentioned, the comedic cameos by Wolverine is just, as you said, it was just jovial. It was just ridiculous. And then it's kind of like, yeah. Then we all of a sudden they have a moment in a pub where they're sharing a couple of beers, and then the next thing you know, she's battling Thanos. I found this quite cool, like where she's up there with obviously Black Widow, War Machine, and they're battling Thanos, which just ties back to Civil War #2. But again, like she died once by getting shot. This time she dies again by getting shot by one of Thanos's death missiles, and it just didn't.
I mean, it was retelling her story, wasn't it?
Mhm.
But I just felt like it was done. Yeah, it didn't necessarily need to be done. I think if you're picking up a She-Hulk #1 by this point, you kind of have a rough idea of who she is, and it
Yeah.
should only need a page or two to kind of, give a brief overview to people who maybe don't know her. Clearly, this is going to kind of delve into the whole kind of death and coming back and what that does to you
Mhm.
stuff. So I get it, but I just felt like it was drawn out, and then stuff in between I didn't get, and yeah, didn't play out well. But on the plus side, look at that outfit.
Yeah.
I don't know scientifically how that works, but I
No,
like it.
no, I don't. And she's kind of gone from being a She-Hulk turning into Kimberly from the Power Rangers, if you ask me.
That's not a bad thing.
But yeah,
That
no,
is
not
not a bad thing.
who didn't love Kimberly when they were growing up. But yeah, like where
That
where
was
does
the lady who made a lot of people realize they like girls.
it was
I was
also
on the
Jet
fence.
from it was also Jet from Gladiators as well.
Yes, Jets from Gladiator. Good. And Walt. Oh. Uh, uh,
Are we still? You said that out loud. You know that, yeah.
it happens. Sometimes things crop up there, they come out there, and it's best we move on.
It is. We're best we move on. But I mean, yeah. So obviously she's gone through the green door. She meets Bruce's dad, and then a cameo by a
It was
He.
Bruce's dad who shot her first, wasn't it?
Yes, so he tied. I think it was he. He gave the hit to the Kot Ati to shoot her, and then she thinks she's in hell, but then it finds out she's in a worse place than hell. And then he gives her a brief background of how her parents died, how her parents died, and then next thing we know, she's in a gym doing weights with Thor, who looks. I mean, this panel here, he looks more like He-Man than he does Thor.
I like that He-Man look on Thor, though. I'm not about that beard look.
Well, they mentioned that they say she was like Hulk-like beard though, and Thor's like, yeah, I didn't really. I kept thinking I was looking like my dad. So I mean, it's cool how this comic tied back to Thor #6. It ties back to Civil War. It ties back to
But then the
Empire and
Thor
stuff.
#6 stuff, like, why do we need to know that in an Incredible She-Hulk issue?
Exactly.
Like,
I thought
that's
I thought this issue would have been more impactful considering we had the news of the new She-Hulk, the She-Hulk making her appearance in like Marvel, the new Marvel Phase 4 and everything. So I thought it would have been more about that, but it was just literally a recap of Jennifer and her becoming She-Hulk and her 3 deaths. It was kind of, it lacked everything if I'm honest, and I was really expecting more from it. So I was kind of like, by
The
midpoint.
thing
of
is,
the comic,
without Ewing, is I'm losing confidence now because his
yeah,
Immortal
that's
Hulk
it. Yeah.
stuff is obviously great, but
Mhm.
Empire was not good, and this was not good. So, you know, I am getting close to the point now where I'm not holding him in the same esteem that I once held him in.
Yeah, I know. And Comico Dino's just said, "Sorry, I'm late, folks. Was giving StreamYard a lesson." If you didn't tune in for the first 15 minutes, StreamYard was giving me a lesson, and I was also learning how to plug on Wi-Fi. So thanks for joining, Dean. But you
And
didn't
if you
miss much.
did tune in from the beginning, then you'll never get that time back.
You won't. You really don't worry. You didn't miss anything. We were just talking about how absolutely shit Immortal She-Hulk #1 was. This is quite a cool picture though, and again it ties back to Thor #6 where he defeated.
It's amazing,
Galactus.
but it doesn't need to be told.
It's really not needed. And I mean, yeah, you can't tell me he doesn't look like Jim Carrey and a cross between Jim Carrey and a raisin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to be quite honest, I've read the beginning of the Immortal Hulk, but I'm quite a chunk down from, like, I need to catch up. So I know that the leader has appeared because I've seen some of the Alex Ross covers, but I don't really know why he's kind of a bit gangly and stuff at the moment. I don't know. But I mean, he's always been a great character.
He has been. He has, and I think he's so much better in the Immortal Hulk than his 2-page cameo in Immortal She-Hulk #1, which I think we can both agree really wasn't needed. It was just kind of a stocking filler to put out there. I guess the only decent thing about it was the Chadwick Boseman on the top of the Marvel comics that they're doing now in memory of him.
Yeah.
But for me, this comic, I would say it's only recommended if you've been reading Empire and you want to see how this ties in. If you like She-Hulk, and I was going to say if you like the writing of Al Ewing, but if you're an Al Ewing fan, you're not going to want to read this, to be honest. I think, as you mentioned, his Immortal Hulk stuff is absolutely incredible, and this is kind of just, he must have been on something when he wrote this, because it.
I mean,
really,
it's vital,
really
isn't it, in the first issue that you entice people to come back for the second issue. And as it stands, I won't have an interest in picking up that second issue. So
I don't. I thought it was a one-shot. I might be wrong, but
no. I mean, if it was a one-shot, that makes it even worse because of how complicated the kind of concept was. I mean, they were trying to get across.
I mean, I honestly thought it was a one-shot.
Better not be a one-shot, I tell you.
If it was a one-shot, it was a one shit shot, mate. It was rubbish. So hopefully we can get on to something a bit better. I know you haven't read this one, mate. So this is Batgirl 49. Now, if I'm being honest, this is another one that kind of promised something and really didn't deliver. Now, have you been, obviously, you've been following, we've had discussions about the recent Batman arc and stuff like that. So have you been reading the tie-ins to the Joker War?
No, not tie-ins, just the main stuff. I mean, I've come out and said this before, but I'm not really a big fan of the Bat family. Shut up, Dino. Is that the Incredible Hulk was a one-shot?
Yeah. I knew it was, and it was shocking.
So, I'm even more confused now than I was before. Oh my god. Okay. Wow. That was bad. Okay. I'm not a massive fan of the Bat family. I've always preferred Batman anyway, just as Batman. I've always enjoyed stories with Robin a little bit less than the stories I get with just Batman. And then when the whole Bat family kind of thing expanded, and now there's like 6 of them or whatever, it's just they just don't entice me as much as characters. I know Barbara Gordon's got a very kind of interesting past, but I'm just not into it. And to be honest, like, what is it, Thursday? And these books only came online like yesterday or Tuesday or whatever. By the time I read like the sort of 6-7 issues that we were talking about reading, and got around to this one last, I just glazed over a little bit. And you know, the artwork was nice, but it felt very, and this might sound really harsh on the artist.
Dino's
About
not
family
happy with
art,
you, mate.
it's no secret that Dick hates me. Yes, I just kind of glazed over a bit, and I felt like the artwork was very. It was the artwork that you get in a spin-off comic, and not the artwork that you get in the main title. It's great. It's good. I mean, the use of sort of color and stuff there is beautiful, but and it, you know, slightly stylized, but it just didn't kind of draw me in enough. And then, I mean, even that page, you look there, and there's so much kind of going on in terms of speech and things, and you know, and this won't be the second time I say it tonight, but I'm not bright. Okay, I'm not bright. I don't mind saying it. And for me, I sometimes get a bit intimidated when too much is kind of thrown at me on that page. Yeah. And you know, it almost puts me off to a certain degree. So, yeah, I kind of didn't read this. Don't read it to me now, though.
No, but no, if I'm being honest with you,
we've already wasted 15 minutes on Wi-Fi. Let's not waste another 15 on Batgirl, eh?
Okay, Dad. But honestly, like, this was another comic. So in the previous issues, like, me and Dawn of Comics discussed this a couple of weeks ago. Like, we was discussing who was going to be the killer and stuff like that. And so I can't really go too much into this if you haven't read it, because there are spoilers in this. But
well, I mean, I'm happy for you to spoil to me, but yeah, spoiler warning for everyone watching.
I mean, if you read number 48, it was kind of like, are you going to find out who the killer is, or is it too clear cut who the killer is that it couldn't be them? And I've got to say, I'm not going to say it yet because I do want to say something else about this, but this issue it's basically all about the Gordons having a tiff. You've got Barbara, you've got James, you've got Gordon. They're all having a fight about all coming together because they've had the previous, I don't know, fight and scuffles and everything. Obviously, Gordon, Jim Gordon was in Hell Arisen. He got taken over Hell Arisen. He's not a police officer no more. That's been handed over to Officer Bullock. So he's kind of leading the charge for this. But I've got to say, this was just a shit issue. If I'm being brutally honest, I actually thought it was just basically a written down Jeremy Kyle version of events where he says, she said, he did this. Yeah, but I'm going to do that. But I'm going to do this. And it was just. I got into this. I was like really enjoying this. First comic I picked up, I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And by the end, I was like, I've literally just wasted time on a issue that could have been so much more. I mean, if you literally, you're looking at this now, and the way that the outlines are done, you can clearly see who the killer is from this page. Because I looked at this, and then I went back over and looked at issue 48. And then I went 3 pages into this, and I clearly see who the killer was. And we're talking about shedding light on the situation. And Dean has just said, "You might not be bright, but you are the light of my life."
Who is this flirt?
Who is this songbird of a YouTube sensation? It's the one and only Comico Dino. I sound like I'm just about to do like a hospital FM. Sit back, relax to the beautiful sounds of.
Hey, that's been my dream for a long time.
But I'd listen to Comico Dino singing a tune with his little hat on, playing a little ukulele.
Well, now I feel underprivileged.
I think Dino. I think we should get that. We should hashtag. We've already got, from our group of Bandit of Misfits. We've already got a hashtag Hydra Projectables. I reckon we should get another one going for hashtag Dino. I was going to say Dino's Banjo, but that could result into something else. So.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I've seen that video.
Yeah, that got more views than one of the Grey Man's Cat videos, which I was pretty shocked about.
I've not seen these. I've not seen any of these. Right man and his pussy. Right, go on.
But moving right, so honestly, it's just basically investigating the murder of the so-called Batgirl. And what I really wasn't, what I was surprised is that we find out that Jim Gordon knows that his daughter Barbara is Batgirl. So where she's been toying with the idea, does he really know it's me? Does he really know that I'm Batgirl? It kind of blew up. Yeah, it kind of blew up straight away in this comic, and it was like, yeah, I know he's literally not shocked to see this woman who's dead, and he's like, yeah, he's not even really that. Obviously, he's bothered by it, but he's not a police officer no more. So he's like, yeah, that's not my daughter. Let's move on swiftly, and it kind of just goes back and forwards to them finding out that none other than her brother is the killer. Her brother James is the killer. He's been the killer all along, and he is basically killing all these Batgirls to get to Barbara. To basically, he was his weird way of getting back into the fold of the family, and it all ends up going arse over tit, quite literally, when the comic ends. Which I'm not going to show here because it is actually a pretty decent scene. To be honest, it's the only thing that was enjoyable about the comic. So if you haven't read it yet, do read it through, just for the fact that you do get a pretty decent double page spread of a decent ending to a pretty lame and shit comic, if I'm honest. So it is worth, if you are going to read it, Ben, it is worth reading it.
Yeah, I need to go back. I mean, the artwork as I skim through, I appreciate it, but yeah, no, I do need to delve into it. I think because I've not been doing any of these, spin-offs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You've got to read this. My cat videos don't get many views. Ben never watches any people's videos, Lowell. He said on one of his old videos.
He's right. I'm a self-indulgent, horrendous person. No, do you know what? I promise you, sir, that I am going to watch other people's channels more. That's my New Year's resolution for 2022.
That's a great resolution. I just realised what you said there, 2022. But you got to start somewhere. We could be in lockdown until then, so who knows?
Everything's written off in it for a while. So,
but yeah, I mean, I would say for this comic, I'd recommend it if you've started the run and you just want to see how this ends, how you want to see it pan out. If you want to see, because obviously Joker War is coming to an end. Is it next week in Batman 100?
Yeah, I mean, they say that, but already bits of it are going to overflow because I've seen covers from Batman annuals and the new, story and stuff.
Fantastic. That is a fantastic Batman annual that you shared this morning.
Batman annual number 5 cover, the variant. Is it Len Yiel? I can't say his name.
Is it in Lee?
Yeah. Oh my god, beautiful. I mean, my feelings towards Clown Hunter. So,
Did we say Clown Hunter?
I had to take a cold shower after seeing that cover.
But no, that looks wicked. But obviously, after the Joker War, we've got, is it Joker Collateral? There's another tie-in arc from that. I think it is another one shot. It's the, is it Joker? I can't remember what it's called. No, it's not Joker. It ties in. I think it's basically
Joker Man. I don't know.
But there is another tie-in after Joker War, and I think if you are reading Batman arc at the moment and you want to see how this pans out, continue reading Batgirl. If you're enjoying Joker War and you have been reading the tie-ins, give this a crack. And also, if you want to see how this arc pans out, just give this a read. But overall, the only decent thing about this comic was the ending. So if you do read it, let me know what you think. But now we are going to go on to probably one of the best reads. It's a name that we're not allowed to say because there's people in the chat that might have to put a pound in a jar for. And I think it is only right in saying that it's been an absolutely amazing run so far. And that is Venom 29. What did you think about this, mate?
Is that person joking? Are they from New York?
Yeah, Dude's Talking Comics is from New York.
Oh, that's exciting. I feel more international than I've ever felt. Okay, pipe down, Hydra. Right, so Venom 28 by Donny Cates. Yes, and a new artist, or I don't know, you might have done the last one. Was it Gideon? And I miss Stegman's work. I enjoy, I think the artwork is a lot more kind of abstract, I think, than the Stegman stuff. But I'm, I think this title's so big now that I need those premiere level artists on it, and I just feel like this issue and maybe the last issue, haven't felt like that. This feels like a spin-off, and it is. It is a kind of spin-off away from the Null stuff, ready to come back and it all to kick off with Null. But I loved it. It's not been a good week, I don't think, for comics in general, for me anyway, personally. And this,
no, I've got a second on that. I thought it was going to be more enjoyable than it actually was.
Yeah, it's not been a great week, and I didn't. It's so cliche, isn't it? Like, oh, Venom's the best comic of the week, but like, unfortunately, at the moment, it is. It really is, because, and one of the key reasons of that is that it's. Earlier, I was saying about Two Gun got me with his pupil. Got me. Yeah, and sorry, I'm like a puppy. I'm so easily distracted. Yes, so it was simple, and I was saying earlier about how I'm not that bright, and Donny Cates kind of appeals to me because the stuff it's fast and it's simple, and the speeches come and the speeches go, and the action is there, and then you get some downtime, but there's bits of comedy, and it's never. Okay, that panel proves me wrong at the top because there's a lot of speech there, but it was necessary for the drama of that moment, which was obviously our first character reveal, or the character behind the character reveal. Yes, so I loved it. I just thought it was so much fun. We got two massive reveals in this. And the joy of these kind of alternate reality stories is that you kind of know it doesn't really matter, and you can just have fun with it. Like seeing Juggernaut and Sabretooth with like a Venom logo on. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, but I'm lapping it up. I really am. The little twists on characters. So Cletus Cassidy was obviously reformed, so to speak, and the fact that Annie is serving as a kind of Agent Venom as well. And I'll never get bored of seeing Deadpool in any reality. But the biggest change that I enjoyed the most has to be Peter Parker's moustache.
Yes, it definitely was. I mean,
I was all about that.
In two comics now, we've seen Peter Parker grow up. Like in obviously Marvel Zombies Resurrected, he's kind of at the forefront. He's the main character in that, and he's grown up again, and he's got a bit of bum fluff. But then in this, which we will get onto in a minute, he's got a moustache, and it actually suits him. If I'm being honest,
looks like Tom Selleck.
It does look like a young Tom Selleck, because I mean, I am loving Venom like everyone else at the moment. I am loving Venom. It's an amazing run. It's an enjoyable comic. I normally pick it up to read it first because I'm like, I want this to lead my week. I want this to be the comic that nothing else can beat. But this week round, I thought, you know what? I'm going to give other comics a chance. I'm going to pick up some less favourite comics and read them and see what happens about that. But I've got to say, the fact is that obviously it's in the alternative universe where we've got Venom, Dylan, we've got Virus, and they've all come across this version of New York where Codex is actually the ruler. And then in this one here, we find out that Codex is he's got Virus in captivity with Dr. Octavius. And what is this a tie back to the Green Goblin in the top left-hand corner?
Yeah, I mean, it mentions where he's got his stuff. I think a combination of finding bits, and I think he mentions that the Tinkerer supplied him with some stuff, and so it was nice to get an insight as to where Virus got all of his stuff, because that was obviously one of the main bits of mystery when you're first introduced to him. However, I do think, as an answer, that was a little bit more disappointing than maybe my imagination was doing. Because, you know, finding scraps and going to the Tinkerer and getting stuff, you know, when I first saw Virus and he had a combination of the Iron Man armor and bits of Green Goblin and
War Machine and stuff like that.
Yeah, all sorts. You know, you kind of, well, it was almost like my imagination couldn't even fathom who that might be, who had access to all of it. And yeah, I think I was a little bit disappointed by the explanation of that, leading up to obviously the reveal of who the character was. But I get it, you know, the storyline wise, it makes complete sense that the guy who is Virus because he's upset. Rightly so. I think after everything that's happened to him, poor bugger.
I do feel sorry for him, and I think that the virus does get him in the end, and we find out who he does become. So there are spoilers coming up in this. So if you haven't read it already, why not? It's Thursday. This comic came out yesterday, so you should have read it. And secondly,
God, what's wrong with you?
Why wouldn't you already have read it? I'm just trying to find.
I woke up Wednesday morning like this, reading it. Didn't even wait.
I mean, let's be honest. It's a comic that everyone's looking forward to reading, and the fact is that if you hadn't already, I don't know.
It's so exciting as a Venom fan, because I've always loved Venom. You know, as a kid, I never wanted an action man. I always wanted the monster. And, you know, Venom in the kind of Spider-Verse was always that. So I've always been drawn to Venom. I loved the introduction to him. I think it's one of the most beautiful kind of, you know, sad scenes in comic book history. And what I loved about this issue is how they've turned that on its head. And obviously what he went to the church to go do, in that reality, you know, things kind of turned out the way that they did. So that was such an interesting concept for me, and really kind of makes that whole universe now really interesting, as, you know, as a what if alone. Yeah, this Doc Ock in his flattery. Doc Ock in that panel looks like if I were to cosplay Venom, that's what I'd look like.
I'd like to see that.
Oh dear, but yes. So I really appreciated that, and Venom had like a solo run. I feel like it was the early noughties or 90s. I can't remember, and it was that first like step into like anti-hero-ness for that character. And I used to love it, but it was very cold. You know, not many people got behind it. So it's so lovely that everyone is on the Venom train now, and it's exciting. And I think it's particularly exciting for that second film as well, because I think a lot more people will maybe contribute to that, you know, with a better mindset than maybe the first one. And hopefully that will mean for a better film. So yeah, you know, it's great. I'm enjoying. This is like a little palate cleanser for all the null stuff that's been going on since like last December or whatever. It's like a little like, right, okay, I'm gonna have some mouthwash, gargle this storyline, and then in, you know what, 2 more issues, I'm gonna spit it out in the sink and get ready for null. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously we see here Anne Wei in. She's got she's pissed with Brock, because obviously in this alternative reality, he did go to the church. He did.
Oh no, we were doing so well. I had you for a full half hour. Oh, but he's still virtually moving things along for me, which is nice. That looks very threatening there as well, geeky guy. Okay, I'll carry on. If you've unfortunately had some technical issues there, we see Juggernaut
Pull the trigger
with the
and it kind of
thimble. He's back. It's okay. Don't worry. Yeah,
but
I love this anyway. And you know, you're flicking through the panels there. Just gave a big spoiler.
I know that's why I flipped back. But here, this is what we're talking about. There's Tom Selleck as Peter Parker. Then we've got Cletus Cassidy.
I mean, that looks like Tom Holland with a tash. Now that I'm looking at it.
It really does. And then obviously we've got Andy Benton, who is Scream. But this was wicked. The fact that like Brock just turns around and just loses his shit, and like, why have you got Cletus Cassidy there? Like, I'm fighting him in one reality. I come here and now he's on the same team as me. His head must be all over the place.
Yeah, it's a great moment. You know, as I said, these alternate reality stuff, you can just have so much fun with them. I mean, Donny Cates historically has done that with the Cosmic Ghost Rider story as well. You know, with like I mentioned it on Dino's channel the other day actually, but the Juggernaut as Howard the Duck as Juggernaut, stuff like that. You can do it in these storylines because it's non-consequential. You know, it won't matter for anything. So you can have fun. You can turn characters on their heads. I mean, this panel here, I said about the artwork, but to be fair, it's got so much character there. The faces, and Deadpool's just so kind of Deadpool in his horrific, scarred, gleeful face there. And Cletus Cassidy, you know, there's clearly so much going on behind the eyes. Batman, and it's it's a really cool moment and very melodramatic, you know, with Eddie Brock. Like, hey, you know, what are you doing? But it's just, you know, it was a fun read. It really was. I loved it.
We've got
How many times have I said that now? 5, 6?
You've said it quite good. I just want to give a shout out to Android Topic, who is a new viewer. He's new to the channel, love the content. It's Quaymar from Instagram. So yeah, this is a new follower on Instagram today. Yeah, it's a new follower.
Sounds like he should be in the Guardians of the Galaxy or something. That's a great name.
I hope I've pronounced it well. He's a new follower from Instagram today. He reached out and said, love the content. I also shop in a place in space. So that is another person that shops in my LCS. And it's great to have you here, mate. So I'm glad you just checked it now, because if you was here at the beginning, you would have probably switched off and unsubscribed and unfollowed, which I wouldn't have blamed you for, but hey ho. But moving on to this scene here, this is just wicked. This is just all kinds of insane. Like, as you were just talking about, you can do so much in this alternative reality, and this is probably a great scene. And I am kind of not sure why the Thing's in it though.
I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it? Omega Red side by side with Wolverine and Sabretooth and Thing. That team makes no sense. But I, for one, will be first in line for their spin-off comic, whatever the hell they're called. Like,
I just love the fact that Omega
they're called
Red
like
is there.
Symbiote Big Boys or something. I don't know. Like Symbiote Big Boys #1. Sign me up.
Yeah. But honestly, Omega Red, we've got Juggernaut, the Thing, Sabretooth, Wolverine.
You just call him Omega.
It is Omega Red, isn't it?
Omega, isn't it?
Omega.
Let us know in the comments, is it Omega or Omega? The funny thing is, they're all going to spell it the same, so it won't matter.
We need that place in space video one day. Yes, we do, Grey Man. We need to get you, myself, Shortbox Sharks, Dawn of Comics. We all need to go down and have a social distancing comic, meet up, coffee. Fondle. Yeah, we can have a
comic fondle. You know, you fondle through the short boxes, non-boxes.
The 50p bins. But yeah, it does definitely need to happen. And I mean, if you can get the Thing and Juggernaut and Wolverine together in a comic, I'm sure it can't be that hard to get myself and a few other South East Londoners down to a comic book shop for a day. But hopefully, see, look, Hydra Collectibles, the new place in Space store looks epic. I've got to say, Luke, it is the pictures really don't do it justice. It's absolutely insane. It's massive. It's huge. And if you do get a chance, you're down there quite a bit. I would definitely go and check it out, mate. It looks wicked. But yeah, definitely go and check it out. Grey Man is saying, "You say Amiga, I say Amiga. Let's call the whole thing off." Aha!
Tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato, potato, potato, Amiga, Omega. It is what it is. But anyway,
Let's do
back
it in
to
a
the
Russian accent. Maybe that's how it needs to. Omega. There you go. That's how it's said. Omega. Omega Red.
Omega Red for the comic
Oh, that's
community.
nice. Oh, I quite like that geeky guy.
We'll take this offline, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
But moving on.
Yes, please.
This.
Oh.
I've got to say, this was an epic scene. I did warn you that there were spoilers, and I'm not going to hold back from this because this is just a panel that needs to be shared and loved. This is a first appearance, correct? It is.
Of Symbiote Scorpion.
Of Symbiote Scorpion, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can't, like, that's the thing now, isn't it? It's like everyone got the virus copy as like first appearance of virus, but technically it's just Matt Gargan in there, so old news.
Yeah, but I mean, it's decent.
No, it is cool. It's a cool moment. Like, I mean, the design of that with the the pincers and things like that. He's obviously kind of it's like Scorpion on steroids.
Yeah,
that logo as well. I don't think I even properly noticed that the first time around. The fact it's like a scorpion within the venom.
Within the venom on his chest.
Okay, yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
And I thought this was pretty decent. And then obviously we go, right, there we go. But this is the biggest one. And obviously we get this from the alternative Reed Richards, who literally is near enough dying. He literally gets the gang together and just turns around and says, the only big problem we really need to sort out is that the fact that in this alternative reality, Dylan is Codex.
There you go. There you go.
This image alone, I just think is insane.
It's like Dylan, in a few years' time, accidentally drops bleach onto himself, starts listening to My Chemical Romance, and this is the result. Codex.
To me, it looks like he's sitting in a toilet and he's forgot to turn the light on.
That's how I look.
And he's contemplating life. He's contemplating life.
You can't see, but he's dropped his phone. That's why he's so angry, because he was playing Tetris on his phone. Do you know what? It's I was speaking to someone about this today as well, and I think to a point it was a little bit predictable. I think a lot of people did kind of guess Dylan. For me, it kind of doesn't really matter anyway, because I don't think Codex, in the great scheme of things, I might be really wrong. It'll turn out it'll be like, no, it's Codex. Codex is no. Like, I don't know. But
they do look very similar, and that
they do, and there must be something there with that as well. But ultimately, I don't. It's not. Peter Parker has a moustache. Dylan is Codex. It's multiverse. It's don't worry about it. So it's fun, and it's a really kind of striking reveal. Luke, it was Luke I was speaking to, like I speak to anyone else. I got your back. Yeah, I think fun is the word that I would use to sum up this comic, and the last comic, and the comic before that. This little side story for Venom has just been a riot, and as I said, it's just been a really refreshing for that whole story, just kind of veer away from it a bit and be completely off the wall with what they're doing.
I mean, because Venom is like, I mentioned this to Luke when he was on the show the other week, that years ago, Venom was a character that you was either Spider-Man or Venom. You either wanted, like, do you know what I mean? There was either two, and he wasn't really that big a character, but he really, it is really, really enjoyable to see people reading Venom now and enjoying Venom and him coming into the forefront. And I think, as you mentioned, we've got the movie number 2 coming out. hopefully he gets kind of the push that he's made, because the author of this comic, I'm not going to say his name, he's done a really good job of making Venom.
Look, he's not Candyman, all right? He's Donny Cates. I'll say it. The
Yeah,
guy,
that's the
we
one.
need to. There's no shame in saying his name and saying his name over and over and over again, because the man is one of the best in the business at the moment. That's what I would say.
Oh, 100%. And the fact is that you can clearly see that with this comic, that for me just goes from strength to strength. And I think the ending on that, as you mentioned, it was predictable. I think you could kind of see it happening in, was it issue 27 and 26? You can kind of see
There's
the
all kind of
lead up
links,
to it.
isn't there? Like back from the Carnage story and things as well.
Yeah.
So,
but it was a great comic, and I would definitely say, like, pick this up, read it, let me know what you think about it.
the problem with these
Codex.
alternate reality stuff is that, like, sometimes you want more and you don't get more. I remember in the, I think it was Battle of the Atom, the X-Men, they did this amazing. I mean, they've had ultimate realities galore, but they had an amazing kind of, alternative reality where there was an X-Men with like Deadpool was on the team, and you had like Colossus with a handlebar moustache, and I think it was Storm and Black Panther's kid and things like that, and it was just so cool, and we just never got to see more of it. And it's like, yeah, like I want to see more of that universe. And is it 2 issues we've got left of that story, or just one more?
I think it's one more. I could be right if wrong. If you do know
No,
the
Rich
chapters,
from
one or
Not Quite
two.
Me earlier was saying how when they get back to, the 616 universe, it'll be like, no, we'll just be there sipping tea. Like, where have you been? I've been waiting for you.
I've been here for ages. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But Android Topic, like, how do you stand on this? So Android Topic has just said, wasn't first appearance of Virus in one of the 3 comic book daily Spider-Man comics. Now, there's a massive hoorah about this, because this comic came out. It came out after the appearance of Virus in Venom, but the free comic book was meant to be
it was
his first
topsy-turvy,
appearance,
wasn't it?
Yeah. So,
don't know.
I mean, if you're into first appearances, I mean, I've said this before, like, if you're into first appearances, that's what you're into. You're into getting first appearances.
Sometimes I love the second appearance, because quite often the first appearance will be just that last page. It'll be a splash, and it'll be like, oh my God, this is, whoever, Punchline or whatever. And then it's actually the second issue when you get a proper introduction to them. I mean, Domino's one of my favorite ones, because her whole first appearance, it actually isn't her. It's Copycat pretending to be her.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like 2 first appearances for Domino and stuff. So yeah, hey, we're all into our own things, aren't we? Some people love a first appearance and some don't care.
I mean, the first appearance of Punchline, all you just see is her lips. And that was the cameo appearance. And you're like, well, that's not even a cameo appearance.
Well, it's not even her lips. Recognize these?
They're yours.
People didn't know. Exclusive.
Well, that is a Killer Comics exclusive. The facial expressions of Punchline is actually straight out of Crampton's. They're his lips.
Are these lips
in demand? These lips very much in demand. You are very much in demand, guy. I've got you on this show, and I think you're on mine in a couple of weeks, and then the week after that as well. You didn't know that, but you are now, because you're just such a lovable guy. There is a bromance brewing. There is.
Well, don't let it brew too long, because that'll burn.
The kettle's on, darling. Make another one.
How many mugs have you got there?
Well, there's one here. There's a Spider-Man cup, and then there's a mug just a mug as well. But that comic, Venom 28, was simply sublime. I'm probably going to read it again because I loved it that much. But with that said, I've got to say my best read was, it has to be Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Number 9. Now, for me, obviously, this is, I think, if you didn't know by now, this comic cover gives it all away. DC, for me, did a pretty shit job at DC fandom by giving away the spoiler to this comic. We all know it's coming to an end. We all know that Suicide Squad is coming to an end with DC. But there was so much barrage of media spoilage from this comic. There was literally so much, like you couldn't have missed it. And the fact is that on this cover, it gives away the spoiler. I was pretty disappointed with it, but I still wanted to see how it panned out.
Yeah, I mean, it's an advert, isn't it? A cover of a comic book. And, you know, 9, well, I mean, that's the first Suicide Squad issue I've read in this run. So it does entice people in. I've just got to say, the artwork from Bruno Redondo was absolutely phenomenal in this book. I mean, as I said, I haven't been reading it recently, but it's just, I mean, that sort of exaggerated, almost cartoon-like style mixed with the kind of dramatic comic book style. I just love that. Tom Taylor, I think I've read quite a bit of Tom Taylor stuff over the years, and I've always enjoyed it. So yeah, it was good. The only problem for me jumping in at number 9 is I actually didn't know a lot of these characters, and Suicide Squad's obviously experts at like digging people out from the bottom of the DC bucket and bringing them to the forefront. So I wasn't familiar with a lot of the characters. Obviously, you know, Harley and stuff, but so that's the only thing I didn't really like. These opening scenes and stuff, I wasn't really invested on a character level. But yeah, the artwork was sublime, and I really enjoyed where the story went towards the end, which I'll let you get to, Geeky Guy, in your own time. Take your time. We've only been going an hour. Take your time.
All right, we've been going 45 minutes because I'm not counting the first 15 minutes of this absolute shit show that it was. But so if you have been, as Chillmonger's just said, DC fandom wasn't for the comics. It weren't. It was all about like the media circus of upcoming games and movies and stuff like that. So I agree with you on that, and I think they did touch on it with the Suicide Squad trailer for the film and stuff. But Flash Ray videos, I'm kind of with him on this. This latest Suicide Squad run it's been wicked. But now that
oh no, third time is a charm. Right, okay, Geeky Guy, we seem to have lost again. So once again, I will pick up the slack of the man. As we move forward with that comic, it's a lovely character exploration, this comic of Deadshot as well. It gives a really nice insight into his relationship with his daughter, why he does what he does, what he wants for her future. And that's all really quite nice and tender. And to be honest, I might have enjoyed seeing that drawn out a little bit more. We then get a beautiful splash page of Superman and, well, who we think is Superman anyway, and a lovely exchange with Deadshot, eventually just asking for his autograph, which is just such a Suicide Squad thing to do. Yeah, lo and behold, it's a spoiler warning. It's a double cross, and Black Mask basically takes the lad out. So I'm a big Roman Cyanosis fan, and yeah, I enjoyed that reveal. But for me, I don't want to see Roman Cyanosis Black Mask using that kind of tech. I feel like that's so extravagant and kind of out there. Like for me, like Roman Cyanosis, I want to see him just as a gangster, as a crook, you know, and that kind of real superhero, like, oh, I'm going to press this button and I'll become Superman. It's just all a little bit too much for me. So I don't know whether that suited the character. You know, if that was like, I don't know, Lex Luthor or someone, do you know what I mean? It might have suited, that plot would have suited a different character, I think. I don't know how much that suits. It's not really a Black Mask thing to do. But, you know, I mean, look at the artwork. It's just beautiful. It really is. So that was my thoughts on it. It's, you know, great art, great writing. Did it alienate me a little bit coming in at number 9 and not really knowing people? Yes. But is it an important issue to read because of what happens? Yes. So I'm glad I did. And who knows? I might, I've only got 8 issues to go back and read now, so maybe I'll crack on with that after the good impression that number 9 gave me.
Ben, thanks so much, mate. Seriously, I've had an absolute mare tonight. This is if this is one reason why you shouldn't do live streams, I think it is shown tonight. It was absolutely.
We've all learned something.
Honestly, I don't know what's gone on. It's ridiculous. I'm honestly.
I could have just done this on my own channel.
Do you know what? I reckon you could have done. I reckon you should have done, if I'm honest, because it's been absolutely shocking tonight.
It's fine. It's fine. Just a quick one as well, because I know that you didn't read this one, and I'm cautious that we are coming up to the kind of hour mark minus injury time from our Wi-Fi issues. But Spider-Man 4, which is put together by J.J. Abrams and Henry Abrams with Sarah Pacelli on the artwork. I really enjoyed Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and there's been a long wait for number 4 and quite a few delays and things like that. And I was really disappointed in this issue. I felt like the first 3 issues took their time to create kind of drama and world build, because again, this is another reality, where Peter Parker's older and we got Ben Parker, the young Spider-Man. And for me, the issue felt very rushed. It felt like so much was kind of crammed in there. And yeah, every issue of 1, 2, and 3, it was kind of one holy moly moment. And in this, it was like they were trying to throw in a holy moly moment every page. And I mean, Sarah Pacelli's artwork, I will always love, and she's such a lovely person as well. Oh my God, it's Jamie Madrox, the multiple man. There we go.
It is. I was going to try and get 5 or 6 of them, but yeah, no.
I'd be surrounded. It would be like oh no, I can't say that. Yes. So I just wanted to kind of discuss that because I wasn't. Thanks. We live to serve. But yes, I wanted to give it a mention because it was great. And you didn't read Ten of Swords, did you? The creation.
No, so I'm getting round to that next when once I've smashed up my Wi-Fi and sat down for a nice cup of tea. You never know, the kettle might stop fucking working now. But yeah, crack on and tell me about it, because that was one of your killer comments.
Well, I won't spoil anything, and the reason I won't spoil anything because I don't really know what happened. Hickman, right? Okay, House of X, I absolutely loved. I did not enjoy Powers of X. And this whole storyline feels a lot more Powers of X in terms of scale and intricacy of like storytelling. And I mean, there's just so much going on. My favorite X-Men stories are the ones that are a lot more kind of rooted, in I mean, it's not reality, is it? But like rooted in reality as much as it can be, and small scale, and when it goes galactic or when it goes kind of apocalypse level of like, I've never really enjoyed it as much. And my worry for this whole new series is that it's massive, in scale, but at the same time, it's not clear. It's so complicated, and there was so much thrown at you in this issue that I just didn't. You're not having a chance to kind of properly meet the new villains and characters and stuff, because there's 4 of them, and then there's 5 of them, and then there's 3 of them, and then there's all these monsters there, and all these people there, and it's just like again, 3rd time I'm saying it tonight, but I'm not bright, and this comic reminded me that I'm not bright. And the problem is as well, when I first started reading like House of X and Powers of X, I did actually read those. There's filler pages that have like extra information, like here's the Krakoan alphabet, just in case you wanted it. And I did read some of those, but now I actually skip over them because they're just like big long paragraphs and things like that, or a long email from Beast or something. And I I'm intimidated by that, to be honest, as a reader, and I don't feel like they offer anything, those filler pages now as well.
See, I
But my
like
worry
X-Men.
is that Hickman's actually putting quite a lot in those filler pages, and that's why I don't get it, because I'm not taking my time enough to read it. But sometimes I don't want to spend like a long time reading a book that's only like, you know, that big. So they recycled as well in this book loads from that Free Comic Book Day stuff. So
yeah, see, I like the X-Men, but I just find it too confusing.
Yeah,
like it's a bit like that.
What I needed in that book was a dumb character to go, wait a minute, guys, does that mean blah 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 blah? Do you know what I mean? Like in every Doctor Who episode, like you basically don't understand it for the whole thing. Then at the end, the Doctor will go, right, so this means blah blah blah, or a dumb character will like explain it to another dumb character. That's what I needed in this, but it didn't happen. And
I think we needed that in the movies as well, in the X-Men movies, because the continuity of that, of where it's happening, who's in it, it's just, I find it all confusing.
Yeah, but I'm worried as an X-Men fan that I actually am going to be put off from reading a lot of the titles stuff.
I've just got to stop you on this, right? Because T1 Collectibles has said it's not been a great week for YouTube lives. Over on Comico Dino channel, I couldn't talk. Same live at Hydra Collectibles, showered himself in tea. Live on Rod's channel, Geeky stripped off, and now bad Wi-Fi. Mate, it is what it is. This is the community we live in. This is what
guys, pre-record, edit that.
It's definitely going for 55 minutes of this. It will be going on a highlight reel. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just literally going to cut to the parts. I'm just going to cut to the parts where you're talking, because it's been very enjoyable. From what I heard, it's been a great show, mate. So
it was mainly filling, like, you know, like if an actor forgets his lines and the other actor like starts ad-libbing, that's kind of what it was like. But no, I mean, basically, Ten of Swords seems to be very out there. If you enjoy really complex Hickman storytelling, Hickman tells a story not caring if you are kind of there from the beginning or understand what's going on. He doesn't care. And I do admire that a little bit in a writer, but at the same time, I think you need to simplify stuff a little bit so that if someone is just jumping in, there's a way to kind of refresh themselves. And as I said, sometimes that is just a panel or two kind of explaining things more in layman's terms. But I know I'm really cautious of time, but that's a good segue, speaking about X-Men, to speak about Juggernaut.
Hey, Captain Comics. Hey, Bob's World. Thank you for tuning in.
That's that pirate guy I saw on Rod's channel. He's a pirate.
He's an absolute legend, and he is a fantastic artist. If you ever get a chance to see his Thundercats picture, get him to send it to you. Steve, if you can send that to Ben, I'm sure he will love it. I know for the fact the Grey Man would love Captain Comics Thundercats that he drew late night.
Grey Man's like the UK's pirate, but like a pirate that's been left on an island.
With cats.
With cats. Oh, you know I love you, Grey Man. But yeah, no, I saw him on Rod's channel, and I thought someone had like slipped something into my tea because I was like, is that a pirate? Yeah,
he's wicked. Cool. He just drinks moonshine, talks comics, and he's literally one of the nicest US comic community members. He's awesome. Oh, it's moonshine, not my friend. Yeah, that's probably because you just drink it out of a bucket constantly. But it's been a decent show. I think there's hiccups along the way. That's what it's all about. Ben,
are we going to talk about Juggernaut before we leave, really quickly?
Yes. No, go for it. I'm okay if you want to carry on. You
if anyone's still watching, we'll send every person AOK of a Silver Age comic book for you. And that's coming. Geeky will do that. Geeky will do that.
No, I've just had a message. I've just had a message. It's coming from Hydra Collectibles, and he has given the thumbs up for that as well. So everyone that's in the chat, he will. due to the Wi-Fi signals, you will be getting a Silver Age comic or a Bronze Age comic from Hyder Collectibles. He's laughed at it, but he's given the thumbs up. So if you want to send him your details over on Instagram or drop a comment in this video, we will sort you out. I'll pay for the postage, not a problem. But thanks,
Hey,
Luke.
I can do that because I've only got facsimiles of the Silver Age, so don't come to me. Right, okay, Juggernaut #1 was a real surprise for me. Maybe even picked it for me as my favourite book of the week over Venom, you know, because it's a nice #1. It's by Nichietza, I want to say, and Ron Garney. And it kind of opens with Juggernaut working alongside like Damage Control. And this is like, I love good guy Juggy. Like, I love like old school, like, so unnecessarily angry Juggernaut, you know, just wanted to crush everything. But I love the conflict when Juggernaut actually is trying to do the right thing, you know, a little bit. And that's happened, you know, he served in X-Men teams and things like that in the past. So I really kind of love to see that like softer side, you know, underneath the armor. And we do get that a lot in this. And basically a ragtag group of kind of kids are trying to kind of, they're almost like protesting against Damage Control and against what kind of heroes are doing to their area and places that they essentially reside. And again, that posed a lovely kind of moral question, you know, as in with superheroes, sometimes, you know, it is like what they're doing is right, but, you know, at what cost? And that's always a really interesting conversation. And essentially, it's a Civil War conversation, isn't it? So the original Civil War, not the terrible rehash #2. So yeah, I love that. And then we got introduced. Is it the first appearance of this D-Cell character? This girl.
I think it is. Yeah.
She's cool, man. Hey, do you know what sells me immediately on a character as a massive Quentin Quire fan? And I'm sure he wants this T-shirt, is a good gobby T-shirt. And her T-shirt with the, what was it? Is that, and then it's like read between the lines. Yeah. And straight away I was like, I like this girl. And yeah, her power is so cool. So she can like slow down kinetic energy. So the Juggernaut obviously like does his thing and runs at him, and she kind of like slows it. She can't stop him. And there's a great line, and I know this was mentioned on the Not Quite Mint channel as well with Dino and Rich today. But they, she's like, oh, why don't you stop or something? And he's like, I can't. And I just enjoyed that. It was a lot more imaginative than I'm the Juggernaut bitch. But yes. It was cool, and they had a really nice kind of rapport and back and forth, and you know, she really opposed being called a mutant, and I quite enjoyed that, and I enjoyed this kind of hero complex side to Juggernaut where he felt like he had to help her, and she was like, no, I don't need your help.
Yeah, I've kind of heard. So obviously, I'll flick through this one, but I haven't read it yet. But it's kind of like, from what I've heard, it's similar to how what's his name is. Who's the big guy in Deadpool, the silver guy? What's his name?
Colossus. How dare you?
Yes, I know.
Dare you?
I
you know who you're speaking to? Oh my gosh.
It's kind of a similar relationship in that the Colossus has.
I'm so upset right now.
I know. Well, really? You're upset. You're upset. But I've heard that it's similar to the relationship the Colossus has with I've lost another name. What's her name?
Oh, Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yes, that's the one that he has with her. But there's some similarities between Juggernaut in this that they kind of build on that, and it's kind of taken from that, which is what I kind of wanted. Like, I'm looking forward to reading.
I think I always relate to these kind of big, broader guys in comics, and obviously, you know, I'm just fat, but in comic books, you know, you're either Thing and you got Rock Skin, or Colossus and you Silver, Juggernaut, you know. But it is the concept of the big guy that has that kind of need to protect. And the irony with Juggernaut is that for years and you know, historically, he's done the opposite to protect. He's put people at risk. And it's kind of like, I love that he's trying to reform himself a bit. Straight away, I was really engaged by this comic. Juggernaut got a bit sexy as well in this comic, can I just say? He got a bit sexy. Like, you know, previously he's been drawn, you know, he's a big brute, isn't he? But in this, he's still abnormally large, you know, like 7.5, 8 foot or whatever, but he's kind of like a bit more chiseled, and he's like got a nice haircut, he's got a good fade, and I was like, oh, Mr. Kane Marco, hello. But yes, so I enjoyed it, and I'm definitely picking up number 2. Well, I haven't picked up the physical copy of Juggernaut 1, and I am going to pick up the physical copy and then get the series because I really enjoyed it. And there's an amazing Scotty Young variant, which is just
I've seen that.
Typical adorable Scotty Young stuff, and it's got Juggernaut like bursting through a wall, and I was just like, oh, that's so cute, I need it. So yes, that is my thoughts, and that's me done. No more comics this week.
Ben, it's been, honestly, it's been, you held my show together. You held my show together here, mate. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone in the chat that actually stayed by while there were some technical hitches. But yeah, it's been great. It's been great having you on. I've been trying to get you on for a while now.
And then I come on and you balls it up.
I know. I was really, really looking forward to this as well. I was well up for it every time.
Hey, these things happen, you know. Hey,
it does. But
no one planned a global pandemic. No one planned bad Wi-Fi. It's okay.
It is what happened. I will be on the phone to Virgin tomorrow and say, what can you offer me? I couldn't talk properly. I messed up. I got Colossus' name wrong. That's part. If you.
I mean, that's the most upsetting thing of the evening for me, to be quite honest.
I love it. It's the Grey Man. It was worth staying for the free Silver Age comic AOK from Hydra.
Yeah, nice one, Hydra. Really nice of you.
Honestly, and it's this is a new hashtag. We was looking for a new hashtag, and we have one. Hashtag saved by Crampton. So, and that is there will be
like
funding.
A terrible sequel to Saved by the Bell.
There will be funding going into the Geeky Guys Wi-Fi pot. So if everyone wants to donate 20p, we can continue this. It has been great, honestly. Ben, you are a genuinely decent guy. I absolutely love you, mate. I think you're wicked. I think the stuff you put out on YouTube is enjoyable. It's wicked. If you haven't checked it out already, guys, make sure you check out Straight Outta Crampton over on YouTube, over on Instagram. He's a diamond. He's basically a lovable Uncle Fester.
Good. With the lips that will be written on my gravestone. No, I mean, it's. I'm going to try and get a little bit more organised now, so I'm scheduling videos so they come up. Thanks. So they come up every 5 p.m. now, GMT. I've not worked out the American time because they don't watch my channel. But please do though. 5 p.m. GMT on a Thursday and a Friday. I promise you, I will release videos. So today I had another birth month's book with Hydra Collectibles, and tomorrow, exclusive, this is for you, I am going to be posting my review of a life-size Togepi figure from Pokemon.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
I tell you what, if it is not taken down by YouTube for infringement on trademarks, then we're good to go for anything. I tell you that for free because I've used a lot of Pokemon stuff in it. But yeah, so that will be going up tomorrow at 5 p.m. So please tune in, and yeah, thank you for listening to my ramblings.
I've just dropped you a link in the chat, so make sure you do check it out. I do have to say though that Captain Comics, I'm going to do a naked show called The Naked Truth About Comics. I, for one, now when you say naked, Captain Comics, are you still going to keep the eye patch on? What's the
I feel like he should have a ball patch and like dreadlocks. No.
If you put it on later, there is more chance they will see it then.
Ah, okay.
But
thank you.
I will try.
I'm not very accommodating, am I? So.
I'm just
rest of the
loving the
world.
conversation. I'm loving the conversation that Luke and the Grey Man are having here. They're arguing about Hydra's like, it's never going to happen. And then the Grey Man's, I know, so you can buy it to order. They're just literally having an argument here. Is the first lizard not silver? But this is what it's all about. The community coming together to help out Wi-Fi issues, to help out Silver Age, Bronze Age comic mishaps, naked pirates in the US talking about comics. And it's great. Thank you
Well,
for
put
being
it this way, I'm going to sleep well tonight.
So will I. How dare you say you will sleep well when you've got a young baby that should be keeping you up all hours of the night?
No, well, yeah, I'm deaf in one ear, so I just sleep on that side and I can't hear.
I wish I had
True
that.
story. I'm not even saying that for comedic effect.
There's three of them. Once one of them starts, the other one starts, and it's like a domino effect. And it's just, help me.
Dad life.
Hashtag dad life. But on that note, it's been an enjoyable 1 hour and 26 minutes. Technically, it's only an hour because I think for 17 minutes we was trying to sort out Wi-Fi, and Ben was just we had a UK takeover on Rod the Rican's channel last Sunday, and this was the Crampton takeover of the Geeky Guy Comics channel tonight. Thank you for saving it, mate.
No worries. I'm available for bookings and bar mitzvahs.
I'm going to enjoy watching the replay of this because I'm just going to sit back with another mug of cup of tea and watch you run my show. So thank you very much, mate. It's been very enjoyable.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Geeky Guy. You're doing good work, son.
I'm trying, mate. I'm trying. I'm definitely going to get you back on though. I think I've got to get you on to fill in for a 16-minute mishap that happened. But
we'll do a sequel. We'll do one of those rare things, which is a sequel that's better than the first.
Yes, it very rarely happens, but hopefully we can definitely get you on again. But mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for everyone that joined in the chat. I do apologise again. I will sort out my Wi-Fi for you guys. And as always, if I don't see you for a week, I'll see you through the Geeky Guy window. And so will the Cyclops. So thanks for tuning in, you lovely bunch. Have a great week. Ciao.